Welcome to Romantasy Chaos HQ, the pod. We are Avery and Xavier Harleston, healthcare professionals by day, romantasy theorists and aspiring authors by night. Today we are covering the epigraph from Fourth Wing, Chapter 2. This is your warning. There will be spoilers for the entire Empyrean series. If you've not read all three books, it may be time to turn back. We are not rated E for everyone. Xavier has a degree in cussing, and he's not afraid to use it. We will discuss all of the adult topics covered in these books. We like a challenge, so we tackle each epigraph without prepping, placing it into context for the whole series, not just the book or chapter it's tied to. But you don't have to take it cold. So here's our post-recording one-sentence summary of the chapter. Violet does not die today, but only because she recites textbooks to calm her nerves while crossing the parapet and defends herself against Jack fucking Barlow, using daggers and an encyclopedic knowledge of the Dragon Riders Codex. There are 6 minutes on the clock and enough Fourth Wing lore that Violet could cross the parapet 100 times and not run out of things to recite. So don't blink, don't scroll, don't let Taryn distract you. We have 360 seconds to blow your mind. Go. There is a misconception that it's kill or be killed in the Riders Quadrant. Riders, as a whole, aren't out to assassinate other cadets, unless there's a shortage of dragons that year, or a cadet is a liability to their wing. Then, things may get interesting. Major Offendra's Guide to the Riders Quadrant, unauthorized edition.
So, first of all, who is that and why is it unauthorized? I mean, we just covered that the last one was a lie, so who is this person?
Major Offendra?
Yes.
It's unauthorized because I think Major Offendra is telling truth that apparently we're not supposed to know.
All right, so we're going with, since this is not the official text, we're more likely to believe it.
Maybe. I mean, it's all got to be taken in stride. This is one person's experience and observation, but it's not trying to appease any, like party line on the Navarre side.
Yes. So when we're thinking about this epigraph, the thing that strikes me is he's talking about, not having enough dragons or a shortage of dragons that are willing to bond. Just leads me to believe that we have no idea what's going on in the Empyrean. Like, why is there not a steady stream of dragons? Also, there are, dozens of dragons bonding every year. How many dragons are there? Like Rebecca Yarros says they just hang out in the Vale, but what? How many hundred?
I mean, if you, let's just say 100 bonded every year, let's just say that's the lowest amount. There's like 101 Violet's year, and that's the lowest amount there's been in recent years. Um, we can assume because of the death rate in the quadrant and then the death rate outside the quadrant, although I think outside of the quadrant, actually, it's not as fatal, perhaps, because no one's actively making you do things that are going to get you killed unless you're going into battle. But yeah, there's got to be tons of dragons. The other thing is that that it specifies that a cadet is a liability to their wing. What makes a cadet a liability to your wing? Because I feel like what Major Offendra is saying might be a liability, or what the cadets view as a liability, is perhaps not the same thing as what a dragon might view as a liability. Uh,
Well, and I think it's very interesting if we're going to trust this epigraph that he uses liability, not weakness, not anything particular. And then later, not the most trustworthy of characters, but Carr says that, nature finds a balance so that the weaker riders get stronger signets. So, like, Violet has a immensely strong signet, but has, a number of weaknesses, but made it through the trials. So she's clearly not a liability at the end of the day when she bonds with Taryn and Andarna, but was very much presented as having weaknesses and was certainly pursued, by fucking Jack Barlow, and was able to outmaneuver, outsmart, and survive. So again, doesn't have that liability, but clearly defining a difference between a liability to the wing and a weakness. And there does not seem to be clarity from the cadets on what a liability really is.
right. Jack clearly thinks that a liability to the wing is someone who is not physically strong, which I mean, we know that it's incredibly that Violet's lack of physical strength really is what leads to his demise on the mat when they spar. Um, but but the other thing is like if and this is separate concept than magic likes all things in balance. That's separate. That's talking about magic. Nature, Carr clearly is talking about nature and how nature is liking this balance um, of giving physically weaker or physically less powerful riders these big, bold, strong, powerful signets. If that's what's going to happen, why wouldn't you want your entire writer's quadrant full of a nice mix, not all, but a nice mix of people who are maybe not physically as strong because you know that they might, get these big bad signets.
Well, and, the thing that just struck me was in Onyx Storm when they were training the Signets and the cadet Drew. So is a liability the risk that you're going to draw, that you're gonna become Venom? And at that point, it begins to make sense to say, like, the other cadets can't suffer a liability, can't suffer a cadet that's gonna turn Venom. But if that's true, then the liability in the trilogy is Zayden
Well, and Jack.
and Jack.
I
Yes.
mean, if that's true, Jack is our a number one liability. But also, even if Jack hadn't turned, his attitude makes him a liability.
Yes.
So I don't know. I don't. Major
Uh,
Offender remains a mystery.
So so we got 30 seconds to bring this one home, and really exploring what does a liability mean throughout Fourth Wing and Iron Flame in particular is a huge theme that, again, Rebecca Yarros is embedded in a couple sentences that doesn't come out until you look back after having, completed 3 of the 5 books.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. How are we doing? Oh,
We got 6 seconds left.
you have anything to add?
No, we're just gonna wait for the fun buzzer.
Okay. There it is. So that's it from us. Did we blow your mind? Let us know in the comments. And remember, we love you. Stay out of the clouds, off the ice, and come back to us. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.